firstly, let me just speak about recovery from my point of view. I thought it was an incredible read. Like it wasn't too long, but what you packed into it was like timeless, in my opinion. And that's the really true meaning of art. And I was really emotional, really moved by it.
Oh,
But even though it was quite emotionally draining on some parts, it was still very powerful and uplifting and positive in other parts. And I don't know how you did that really, because I'm sure it was so difficult and tough for you to write.
it was very hard. It's a very heavy book.
Mm,
So it's 7 years and 127 pages. So it's a short read, but it is heavy. It is emotionally quite like you feel the weight.
mm,
And I think the reason why um it's probably so emotive is because that's generally just how I felt in some of the stages in my life.
mm,
And I think the main reason for me trying to write in a way that's yes emotive and still sharing that story is that if people are able to resonate and if people are still feeling this way, that it's okay to feel like
mm.
that. And everyone deals with essentially the grieving process in their own way. And this was just my experience.
Yeah, and just to give the listeners an idea of what the
Mhm.
book is about, it's about your story of getting through your mum's stages with cancer,
Yeah.
and then the recovery process after that. And the way you've written it is really interesting because you started it by years, like 2013 all the way to 2020. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
And so, how old were you then in 2013 when you
So I
were
was
going through
15.
this? You were
So I was
15.
15 when my mum was diagnosed. And when you're 15, you don't know anything. You're
Mm,
literally a child.
mm,
I was the youngest of four daughters. So I mean, you're the youngest, you don't think of much like you're the one that's looked after essentially
mm,
anyway. Um, and it was just a very, very big change. The family dynamics changed, our responsibilities changed. My duty, not only as a daughter, but as just the responsibilities of a young adult, changed drastically. Um, and you just, as you get older, you just get a newfound appreciation for just your own family and just appreciation for life. Um,
mm,
because you really don't realize what you have until you lose it.
mm.
Um, and I mean, being 15 and learning about like treatments and diagnosis and medications and it's a lot for a young
Mm.
person. But when you have that support, then it doesn't feel as hard.
And I think that really comes across in the book is that this you've got this internal struggle that you're
Mm.
going through, and you're growing up like tens of years in like days, right? Like you're literally growing up throughout
Literally.
the book, and but you still speak about this amazing support that you have with your father and your sisters and the people that are
Yeah,
really close to you.
definitely.
So even though they can be around us physically, no one can really understand what's going within us internally, and like
Mm.
because I think you're very complimentary and very appreciative of everyone trying to help you, yet you
Yeah,
realize that actually I can only help myself. Is that something that's what really comes through in the pages that I read?
definitely. Because I feel like we're all at different stages of our life.
Mm,
And obviously, my sisters were a lot older than me, and I guess just more understanding of what was happening and the changes that were going to happen. And me being the youngest and me trying to still figure out, like, what does this mean?
mm,
Um, it was very hard for me. And I think you'll read it in the first few chapters where I'm just in denial. I'm very angry. Um, and I don't like what's happening.
mm.
And I guess you can kind of see the selfishness in me that I'm just like, no, but I kind of just need you here. Can you just stay,
Yeah,
like, just for me? And that's just me being a young, selfish child that just wants their parents, that just wants
yeah.
their mum. Um, and you see that, and you see me change over the years.
Mm,
And I think that's why I did different chapters in different years because it's not necessarily that in the difference between 2013 and 2014, I would have changed drastically as a human. You don't just change over years. Sometimes it takes a couple of years, and that's why I did it in certain stages. And those years are very prominent. So 2013 was when it started, and then 2016 she was re-diagnosed, and then 2018 she passed away, and then 2020 it was just kind of me just being like, okay, just kind of accepting, I guess is one word, but also just coming to terms with everything that's just happened. So it's definitely been a process, but the book is dense. It is very emotionally quite heavy.
Yeah, most definitely. And what I was left feeling when I finished the book was that this process is still ongoing. Like, it's not like you've magically reached this end shores and everything is behind you and this, that, and the other. I'm sure, like, as time passes, things will become easier as you grow older and stuff as well. But again, the process is still there. It's still an internal.
Definitely.
Like,
and I think the whole point of the title Recovery was that for the longest part it was my mum recovering, and now it's me.
Yeah.
And it's ironic because it's like I was never the person that went through it. I was literally just the handlebar throughout this. But I think what we don't realize is that when you're helping someone, or just I guess when you're with on someone's journey, when they're dealing with something that like a terminal illness, it affects the people around them as well, not just the person that is diagnosed or is not well. And I think we need to just be kinder to ourselves, that we have to feel like we're okay all the time, and it's okay if you're not okay. So I think that's the whole point of recovery, because like I will still always be recovering in that sense.